Before AvidXchange, managing accounts payable took too much time and effort. Coding and reviewing invoices, tracking down approvals, the list goes on. But with AvidXchange, your AP is automated, so you can review and approve invoices anytime, anywhere. You'll gain greater visibility and control into your workflow, giving you time to focus on more important things. Experience the power of change. AvidXchange. Learn more at avidexchange.com. That's avidexchange.com.
Hey, Optimal Startup Daily listeners. This week we're sharing something special, the No Priors podcast. No Priors is your guide to the AI revolution. At this moment of inflection in technology, co-hosts Alad Gil and Sarah Guo ask the world's leading AI researchers and legendary founders the biggest questions. How far away is AGI? What markets are at risk for disruption? How will commerce, culture, and society change? What's happening in state-of-the-art research? You can find No Priors wherever you get your podcasts. This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 959, Why Buying Wholesale Can Be Misleading, Part 1, by Steve Chou of mywifequitherjob.com. And hey again, I am your host here. My name is Dan, and I'm with you every single day, including weekends and holidays. And if you're new here, this is how this show works. We take these great articles that we find covering business and entrepreneurship. We get permission from the authors to turn them into audio content. And then we read you one post every day, or in the case of some longer posts like today's, we split it into two parts. So that's what we're going to do today with this longer post from Steve. So let's get right to part 1 now and start optimizing your life. Why Buying Wholesale Can Be Misleading, Part 1, by Steve Chou of mywifequitherjob.com. A good number of phone calls we get for our e-commerce business are from customers asking for wholesale pricing on our products. And because we have no desire to be in the wholesale business, my default answer is always no. Instead, I offer them attractive discounts if they purchase above a certain quantity threshold. Now, what's funny is that when customers hear the word no wholesale, they almost always hang up without asking for pricing. What these customers don't realize is that the discounts we offer are competitive with many of the wholesalers in the US, and these customers are missing out. Do they think that wholesale is synonymous with lowest price? Here's the thing. Most new shop owners believe that buying wholesale magically means that they are getting the lowest price possible. Most shop owners think that obtaining wholesale pricing means that they can make at least a 50% margin when they list their products for sale. The truth is that the term wholesale is just a bunch of BS. Admittedly, though, the word implies major discount, which is why most people fall into the wholesale trap. Here's the reality. Wholesale pricing does not guarantee a certain margin, and it's based on an arbitrary MSRP, or manufacturer's suggested retail price, which is often bogus. Here are some things to keep in mind if you are looking to buy wholesale. You will not be the only one selling that product. If you were able to find your wholesaler easily, chances are that a bunch of other people have as well. Even if you receive attractive pricing for the products you want to sell compared to the manufacturer's suggested retail price, MSRP, the low barriers to entry will lead to severe pricing pressure in the marketplace. This phenomena is especially prevalent on Amazon, where you potentially have hundreds of sellers trying to sell the exact same wholesale item. Even if you manage to find a wholesale product that is underserved on Amazon, it's only a matter of time until other sellers find the same distributor and start competing against you. Once that happens, it will quickly become a race to the bottom in terms of price. Even if your manufacturer offers MAP pricing or minimum advertised price, at best, you will achieve price parity selling an identical product with very little added value. In addition, your prices for wholesale purchases will be tiered based on quantity. As a result, if you are a beginner, you will be competing against larger volume players who have more favorable pricing. Wholesale prices aren't always the lowest. When my wife and I were shopping for vendors for our online store, every single person we talked to claimed to be a wholesaler. But the price ranges were all across the board. Believe it or not, some of these wholesalers had prices that were more expensive than if I just went to Walmart. How can that be the case? Shouldn't wholesalers offer the most competitive prices? The fact is, there are many retailers out there who offer only a few products, buy in extreme bulk, and focus on volume. In many cases, wholesalers, at least in the US, are just small businesses that don't have the capital to purchase large enough quantities to get the best pricing across the board, and/or import their goods from China, do a little quality control, and mark up the item 100%. Several years ago, my wife and I attended the annual San Francisco Gift Fair held at the Moscone Center. It's no longer called this. And as with most wholesale trade shows in the U.S., the majority of vendors offered a suggested retail price which was roughly 2 times the wholesale price. Now, normally trade shows like the SF Gift Fair are a great place to meet vendors because hundreds of companies congregate under the same roof for several days. But what we found was that the MSRP prices were outrageous. The problem with shopping at a trade show is that unless you have some context for the pricing of the goods you're buying, you will have no idea whether the wholesale prices you are getting are the absolute lowest. After all, the retail price is usually just a bogus number that you can't really expect to charge. Now, there were several vendors at this show that sold the same or similar products that we offer in our online store, but the wholesale pricing that they were giving us was a good 2 to 3 times higher than what we could get directly from our vendors in Asia. In some extreme cases, the markup was upwards of 8 to 10x. But if you looked at their retail pricing, it didn't appear to be a bad deal. That is why you have to be extra careful and do your homework before making a bulk purchase. The reality is that anyone out there can call themselves a wholesaler as long as they do the paperwork. There aren't any guidelines or certifications required, so the term wholesale can mean a huge range of prices. Amazon has changed the wholesale game. Today, Amazon is the most shopped-on e-commerce platform on the planet. In fact, at the time of this writing, 49% of retail customers start their product searches on Amazon. 49%. In the past, you could get away with selling other people's product online at higher prices because there was no single dominant platform. Back in the day, consumers relied on comparison shopping engines or Google to get the best price, which was a much more tedious affair. But today, you can simply go on Amazon and instantly compare multiple identical products and get the best price. As more and more people start selling the same wholesale product, the price can drop almost immediately. One of my friends had a wholesale product that sold well for many years until a rash of new sellers started listing the exact same item on Amazon. Within a single month, the price had dropped so significantly that he was stuck with the entire warehouse of unsellable inventory. Because half of all consumers start their shopping on Amazon, there's much less incentive for a manufacturer to sell you their products wholesale unless you run a brick-and-mortar establishment. After all, why should they sell their products to you at wholesale prices when they can sell on Amazon and make double the margin? To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, Why Buying Wholesale Can Be Misleading, by Steve Chou of mywifequitherjob.com. The thing about running your own business is every single hire counts, but finding great talent doesn't have to be a second job. You can reclaim your time and find top talent fast with Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform helping over 3 million businesses worldwide to do it all. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates. Over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates the moment they sponsor a job. Now, I especially love Indeed's Instant Match feature because candidates you invite to apply through Instant Match are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search, according to US Indeed data. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/startup to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/startup. Indeed.com/startup. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Smoothie King asks, what's that sound? That's the sound of hearts popping out of your eyes when you see Smoothie King's all-new smoothie bowls. These Power Pack beauties are just waiting to be spooned. Our smoothie bowls start with acai or pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, ripe mangoes, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. That's the sound of a smoothie bowl being made fresh, just for you. The new Smoothie Bowls menu, only at Smoothie King.
And thanks as always to Steve, one of our regular authors here. When his wife became pregnant and she planned to stay home with the baby, they knew that they'd need to find more income, so they started a little online store called Bumblebee Linens. Well, in just 1 year, they were able to replace his wife's salary of $100,000 per year, and they started My Wife Quit Her Job to document it all, including income reports. As of 2016, Steve was expecting to have the website's first 7-figure year, which is obviously huge. But he didn't stop there. He started the My Wife Quit Her Job podcast and even held his very first e-commerce conference called the Seller Summit. So there is obviously quite a lot you can learn from Steve and his wife, and you can visit them at mywifequitherjob.com. But that's it for today. I thank you so much for joining me, and I will, of course, be right back here with you tomorrow, where we're going to finish up this post from Steve and where your optimal life awaits.